In this demonstration, I'm going to show how to justify a value within a field width. The example is defined in this function here, demo justification, which I've defined in this file here. So I have two messages, message 1 and message 2, and we're going to output those using left justification and right justification. Also, at the end of the demo, I'm going to talk about internal justification, which is useful when you have a number that you want to display. So, first of all, let's have a look at the default justification. In this first part of the example, I have a set width of 10, and then I output message 1 within that field width. Remember that set W only applies to the next output. So message 1 will be displayed in a field width of 10. And then if I want message 2 also to be output in a field width of 10, I have to use set W again prior to output in message 2. So you have to call set W before each item that you want to output within a certain width. So these first two outputs will output hello and world in a width of 10 characters. By default, items are right justified within the field width. So when I run this example, you can see at the beginning of the output, hello is right justified and world is right justified with the square brackets around them. Okay, so back in the code, if you want to left justify, you use the SDD left manipulator. This manipulator is defined in the IOStream header. So we define left justification. When you define left justification or right justification or even internal justification, these apply for all subsequent outputs. You don't need to keep on saying left justification, it becomes the default. So when I set left justification here, all subsequent outputs will be left justified within the specified field width. So when I output message 1, that will be left justified in a field width of 10. And then when I output message 2, that will also still be left justified in that field width of 10, as you can see when I run the application. So hello is left justified and world is also left justified. Okay, so back in the code, what I do then is I reinstate right justification using the SDD right manipulator. So message 1 and message 2 will both now be right justified within the field width. And if I run the application again, you can see hello world are right justified as I said. So that talks about left justification and right justification. We'll just finish off by talking about internal justification. So internal justification is to do with the way numbers are output. So let me show you the code here and then I'll explain what we expect to see. I've output a number and another number, both within a field width of 10. I then set internal justification and I output the numbers again in a field width of 10. This is what the output looks like. So the first two numbers are displayed like this. You notice the negative sign is displayed right next to the numbers. When you set internal justification, it causes the negative or the positive sign, if you have one, to be left justified at the start of the field width. And then the number is right justified on the other side of the field width. So the number and the sign become separated. It makes it more obvious that these are negative numbers, whereas here you have to look a bit more carefully to see the minus sign. It's a relatively minor point, but it could be important, for example, in accounting applications, where you might want all the negative and positive signs to align on a certain axis. At the end of the application, I just reinstate right justification. This is the default justification, just to reset things as they would have been at the start of the example.